Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey guys, I've got a live training today. We're going to be talking about how to maximize 2026 and how to get the most out of your golf game and to have the most fun and just have the best year ever. Some of the things we're going to talk about, I'm just going to kind of go over what the menu is for today. We're going to talk about results-focused goal setting and finding what you truly want. We're going to talk about perfect practice, some of the best ways to practice to maximize what you're going to get out of your practice this year is going to help you maximize what you get out of your golf game and how your 2026 year is. We're going to talk about some mental practice. Yes, we are all obsessed with fixing our swings and working on our swings in our actual game, but we also need to make sure that we work on our mind and get some mental practice in as well. I'll have some other ways to learn how you can connect with me. I've got some exciting things coming up here in the next few weeks. And also we'll do a Q&A. And if you have any questions, please just put it in the comment box and chat box, and I will answer that as best I can. And especially if you have a question about something specifically that we're talking about, please don't wait till the end. Just go ahead and put that question in, and I'll do my best to answer that. So without any further ado, let's get started. So I want to talk about results-focused goal setting. Now, goal setting, I feel like, has kind of gotten maybe a bad rap. Like we all have heard, we all need to set goals. You need to write it down. All these things that we've been taught. I mean, this is something I learned when I was, I don't know, maybe 16, maybe 12. I don't know. But we've all learned about goal setting. And it's this, to me, it's kind of gotten to this point where it's this kind of rigid thing where, oh no, I have to set goals, and oh, it's a new year, and let me do this, and let me take all this time writing the goals down. And I feel like it kind of gets lost because really, I think focus is more on, people are really focused on writing their list, excuse me, writing their list of goals, and really focused on taking all the time to actually put the goals together and what's the perfect goal for me and all that. And we miss the point of goal setting, which is actually to get the results you want. And so that's why I want to talk about results-focused goal setting. We really want to focus on what results do we want? What do we want to do this year? Is this going to be the year that we break 100? Is this going to be the year we break 90? Is this the year we break 80? Is this the year we break par? Is this the year that I get my third hole in one? I'm working on that. And yes, that is on the top of my list for 2026. Came pretty close in 2025, didn't quite get there. But yeah, so what do you want to do? Do you want to win your club championship? Do you want to, again, make your first birdie? Do you want to break 100? Do you want to break 90? Do you want to win a tournament? Do you want to compete? Do you want to win your club championship? What are the things that you really, really want out of your golf game in 2026? Now, obviously, this could also be used for any part of your life. I'm a mental performance golf coach, so I focus on that. I also help people with the rest of their lives as well, kind of a life coach for your golf game. But yeah, so what do you really want? And this is like one of the most important parts to maximizing and getting the results you really want in 2026 is to find out what you really want. If you're driving a car, you don't know where you're going, you're probably not going to get to what you think you're going to do unless you've actually set. I mean, if you put in your phone, put the GPS in, put on Google Maps or whatever and say, hey, I'm going to, whatever, I'm going to this golf course today. Well, it'll give you the roadmap to get you actually there. But if you didn't know where you were going, you're just kind of aimlessly driving. And that's pretty much the difference between people that are out there just like, oh, I want to get better. I'm working on my game. Well, what does that mean? What are the results you actually want from your game, and what do you really want this year? And so this is the most important part, is to find what you really want, what you really, really, really want deep down inside. And this will help give you the fuel to help you reach further and become your best in 2026. Now, a couple things about this. I feel like we haven't all been trained to worry about and think about and focus on ourselves. I feel like through our upbringing with parents or church or government or whatever it is, that when we talk about, oh, this is what I really want, that becomes something that's selfish and you become selfish. And I want to make sure that we're putting that aside. We've lived our lives in this modern society, and I know that we have lots and lots of outside people. Again, whether it's your parents, everybody, well-meaning people in our lives, with parents, politicians, whatever it is, trying to help us to have what they want us to do for the best life that they want us to have. But at the end of the day, we really need to focus on what we really want and what we really want out of this experience. Now, obviously, we want to take care of everybody else in our lives, but for this particular training today, I really want you to focus on what you really want, and it's going to be golf focused, of course, because that's what we do. But what do you actually want? And it's not going to be selfish, because if you have a nice big goal and you have a good plan and you're working that plan and you're going after that, you're going to be a happier, better, more fulfilled person. And if you are a a better, happier, more fulfilled person, you are going to be a better person, whether it's a better husband, a better father, a better mother, a better sister, a better student, a better whatever it is in your life, if you are really inspired and really fueled to go after what you really want. But I just want to make sure that we're not thinking about this being selfish, because we really, really want to dig deep, and we really, really want to find what you guys really want to do in your life and how you really want to have 2026 turn out. Like what do you want your golf game to be? So when you're sitting down and setting out some goals and talking about and writing down what you really want, I really want you to take the time to sit with yourself and truly think, what do I really want? And I want you to try to, so your mind or ego will try to put in some things where, like, okay, what is something that's realistic for me? Like, I shot in the 90s last year, so I just want to make sure I shoot in the 90s this year, maybe get a couple strokes better. Well, that's not very inspiring. And the problem with having a goal or a result or a focus that is just a little bit above where you are right now is there's no fuel there. There's no juice there. There's no fun there. And you'll maybe go after it for a little bit, but it's just going to wane and fade. Wane, whatever that word is, and fade. But I want to make sure. So let's forget about being realistic. I want you to dream big. I want you to dig deep inside and find out what you really, really want and what you really, really want for your golf game in 2026, and really go after that. And one of the ways I like to do this is to kind of sit down. I'll do a meditation, do some breathing, and just kind of relax and just write down, what would I really want this year? And forget the fact that, forget it being realistic. What would I really want if I knew that what I'm writing down, I will actually have? What do you really want if you knew you couldn't lose and you would succeed? What would you actually want? And I think that's a really good place to start. And the thing that's interesting is, and I've done multiple goal setting and results focused goal setting sessions in my life, and I feel like it's not just me sitting down for like 10 minutes and being like, oh, this is great, we're focused on this, wonderful. What I feel like is it takes some time. And I'm not saying like you spend hours and hours and hours doing this, which would be fine if you did. But I feel like focusing on it one day, writing some things down, but just kind of leaving it open-ended. Like, oh, maybe I didn't come up with all the best things I really want this year. Because as you keep thinking about this, you'll be going through your day and you'll be like, you know what? I would really, really love to make an eagle this year. I've never made an eagle. Wouldn't that be a fun thing? write that down. So if you've got your list either with you and, we've got like a notebook or a planner you've got it written down in, or if you're just using your phone and you have a notes or a Google Doc or something, just kind of keep that with you for like a few days and just kind of see what comes up, because it's going to be really interesting for you to start focusing and start thinking about what results you really want. And to really maximize that, it's going to be interesting to see as you kind of get quiet. Maybe you're laying down to bed and you're just like, I would really, really, really like to win the club championship, or I would really, really like to go on an amazing golf trip. And, or I really, really want to beat a certain friend of mine, like that's my goal. Or I really, really want to have one round, where I shoot under par, or I break 80 or 100 for the first time, or whatever it is. And I think as you go through your day, these things will start coming to you and you'll start realizing them and you'll start noticing them because you've started this process of really figuring out what results you want. So, kind of a summary on this first part. So, results focused goal setting. We want to find out what we really, really, really want. We want to sit with this for a few days, maybe a week, and just kind of go over it just here or there, maybe in the morning before you go. But we don't have to spend hours and hours and hours, but just do this over the course of a few days and see what really comes up. And if you get a ping in there and you're just like, oh, wow, I'd really like that. And then you hear a voice in your head say, oh, you'll never be able to do that. That means you're on the right track. That means you're on the right track. In fact, if you're setting your goals and writing out what your results you want this year, and it doesn't make you a little uncomfortable, you need to dream bigger. You need to raise the bar a little higher because you are not maximizing what this year could possibly be. What would you want if you knew you couldn't fail? So think about that as you're going through this process. But we want to find out what we truly want. We want to make sure we dream big. Because this is going to be the fuel to help us with this. So, and then kind of like what I was talking about, once you've come up with this plan, and once you come up with what you really want, start looking at it daily, a couple times a day, once a day at least, because we want to have this on the top of our mind. These results that we want for this year, we want to keep them up, because the next part is we're going to be creating a plan of action. So we've got these goals. It's going to take us maybe a week or so, maybe a couple days, whatever it is. Also, this can change. Like it can change. Excuse me. It can change. It doesn't have to be the first 10 things that you come up with. This can change as the year progresses. And what I'd love to see from you is as the year progresses, or as you get into this in a couple weeks, you're like, you know what? That goal is too low. I can actually do much more than that. How much more can I do than that? And I would love to see you guys just jumping your goals, compounding your goals, going higher and higher and higher with that. So, but that's the first part of this is getting results focused goal setting. And then we want to look at it daily. And then we want to start creating a plan of action. And a plan of action is going to be going to start with how much time and effort are we going to be able to put towards these goals. If you have a family, if you have kids, you have all these things going on in your life, whether you're a student, high school student, college student, whatever it is, you have obligations. And so we want to make sure that we have set time out specifically for creating this plan of action and for tracking your practice and how many times you're going to play. So maybe you have you play once a week, and you want to really, let's say you play in a golf league. Let's say you play in a golf league, and that's once a week, and you really want to win the golf league, and you really want to do well in the golf league. And so what you'll do is you'll block out the time. You know that you're playing the once a week, but then with a really big goal of winning the golf league. And let's say you've been in last place, you've never even come close to doing that. This year is the year that you get your handicap down and you win the golf league. How fun is that? So then what you want to do is you want to start finding some extra time for some practice. And the great thing about this is, and this will be the next section about perfect practices, you don't need to spend hours and hours and hours and hours practicing your golf game to get better. Does it help to do that? Maybe. But if you're practicing the wrong thing for hours and hours and hours, then you're not necessarily getting better. But if you have, and this is the next thing I want to talk about, if you're doing perfect practice, what I like to call, less is more, and you will actually be able to maximize how much time. Interesting anecdote. We've got Signetti, the Indiana University coach. He talks about. I've listened to him this week as Indiana's on this just amazing run, playing the national championship game next week. But the coach was talking about how he's like, we don't over practice. But what they do is he's like, we're very organized, we're very specific, we're working on exactly what we want to work on, but we're not out there practicing hours and hours and hours and hours because we get tired. And so for you in your life, you may not have 10 hours a week to practice to work on your golf game. You can't go to the range every day and work on your short game for hours and hours. But what can you do in those small amount of time? So first of all, start blocking out some time. Find out, even if it's just 15 minutes, 15 minutes a day. Let's say you're in a golf league once a week and you've got 15 minutes a day to work on some things. 15 or 20 minutes can make a huge improvements in your game. And I'm talking even just like at home, if you just start working on your putting at home, if you do some mirror drills, if you work on some other kind of drills, if you've gotten, a lesson, and you've got some ideas of what you need to work on, what are the drills you need to work on. There's lots of things you can do without having to go to a driving range and actually work on your game. And that's what we want to talk about. Perfect practice, getting a plan together. First of all, we want to block out the time, and then we want to get our perfect practice plan together. But remember, less is more. I mean, a few correct swings done better or perfectly are better than 100 poor swings. I mean, you can go to the range and hit ball after ball after ball after ball, or and not actually get better. Because if you're practicing the wrong thing, it's not actually helping you. You're just kind of ingraining the poor act. But if you go to the range in that same amount of time and you take 10 or even 5 very specific focuses where you're working on a drill, you're working on exactly what you want to do, and you take 10 actual, or 5 or even 10 actual perfect swings, that will actually help you more than if you're out there just beating balls all day. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a large amount of time. I mean, obviously, the more time, there's a balance there between how much time you need to use, and it depends on what your goals are. But you can get so much better by using a small amount of time, even 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, even 4 or 5 times a week. And you can really improve your golf game just with a small amount of that by doing some perfect practice. But also make sure that when you're doing your practice, make sure that you track your practice. I love to track my practice. I've got a spreadsheet that I use. And in my results training course, you have access to the same spreadsheet that I use. And I've been tracking my stuff for, let me see how long I've been doing. So I've been tracking my, I have a golf Transy 2024, 23. So I've been tracking it on this spreadsheet since 2023. So it shows exactly what I've done. And I have different categories that I work on. I've got my putting, chipping, wedges, irons, driver. I track how many holes I played, if I played golf that day. I check my yoga and stretching, how long I did that. I also check things on my spreadsheet that I track. I also track if I read, if I meditated, if I listened to my end scene, if I journaled, if I did affirmations, if I did exercise. Also, I track my recovery, if I did a cold shower, or if I iced. Lately, my shoulder's been bugging me a little bit, so I've been icing my shoulder. I track that. And then any other recovery things, or if I get a massage, or I go to a chiropractor, or if I do some foam rolling, or use a massage gun. So those are all the things that I like to track on a spreadsheet. And again, I've got the students of mine have access to the spreadsheet. And you can make something simple, but if you like the one that I have, I've also got my results training course, which is, if you just go to johnlemmon.com and check out my results training course, it is only $49, and it is a great way to dig deep and to go over basically what we're talking about on this live training and a step-by-step process on how to learn that. So, but anyways, johnlemmon.com, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. But talking about perfect practice and making sure that you're tracking your practice. Tracking your practice is very, very important, because if you're not tracking it, you're not actually sure what you're actually working on and what you're doing. Again, it doesn't have to be hours and hours at a time, but even if you just went and you were on your carpet and you spent 10 minutes hitting some putts or 5 minutes here or there, make sure you track it, because small incremental steps will lead to big results as you go forward. So that's that part on the perfect practice. Like as an example, and you don't have to even, you don't even have to have a, take an actual swing with a golf club to do something that's helpful. Like one of the things that I do, I've got a mirror set up in my office, and what I'll do is I'm working on some drills, and I'll just make sure I'm looking in the mirror, and I'll just do some turn drills to make sure, because I have a tendency to go this way, and I'm trying to get myself over there. So I'll just do that a couple times a day and just kind of do some practice like that. But make sure that when you do that, even if it's just a small amount, make sure that you are tracking that and writing that down, because every little bit helps. And the more you track it, the more you want to do it. And the more you do it, the more you want to track it. So it kind of goes back and forth with that. So that's part of the perfect practice part of this. I'm going to take a sip of some coffee. And again, if you have any questions, please check it out. Put that in the chat box, and I will answer those as I get to them or towards the end. So, all right. Perfect practice. So we've gone over results-focused goal setting, how to do that, finding what you truly want, and then talked about putting a plan together. And then we talked about perfect practice and working on your practice, doing that. And then the next part is we want to make sure that we're not only doing just physical practice, which is what something like me doing a turn drill or a swing drill or hitting some putts or something like that, working on our actual physical game. We want to make sure that we're working on our mental game, and we want some mental practice. So mental practice can be things like visualization, can be things like meditating. It can be listening to your own perfect end scene like I do. It can be breath work. Anything like that you're doing, I want to make sure that you're working on your mental game each week, no matter what. And yes, we get caught up with all the swings and making sure our swing's perfect and everything like that. But in order to play your best and to take that game from the driving range, from the practice range, and actually play that and play your best on the course, you really need to make sure you're focusing on your mental game. And mental game includes multiple aspects, like I said, visualization, meditating, breath work, working on your pre-shot routine. So don't just, next time you're at the practice range or practice green or working on your putting, basically, don't just randomly hit balls and just like, oh, go through your full pre-shot routine, figure out where you're breathing, how you're moving, and just keep perfecting that pre-shot routine step by step, because the more you practice your pre-shot routine outside of playing, the easier it will be to fall into your pre-shot routine and do it perfectly when you're playing. And the timing on a pre-shot routine, they did some studies, and they talked about, I did some studies on Tiger Woods and how his pre-shot routine was almost exactly the same every single time when he was playing his best. And it actually was specifically, almost, you could almost like set a watch to it. It took him this amount of time to do this. He did this. He had his his practice swing, and he stepped up and hit it. And when he was playing his best, everything was down to almost the exact same time. And you think that Tiger Woods didn't practice his pre-shot routine outside of that, or did you just, we'll just work on that on the course? Absolutely not. One of the greatest golfers ever. He practiced everything down to the minute, the second. So he was working on his pre-shot routine all the time as well. And it's just something like that. And it, again, so it's just this little shift where instead of going and putting, just hitting some practice putts, you can actually do that and work on your mental game by using your pre-shot routine. And it's just like a subtle shift. You're taking the same amount of time, but instead of just hitting putt after putt, you're doing a better job of perfect practice and working on your actual pre-shot routine and your putting stroke at the same time. So you can kind of compound these things together. And it's just such a better way to practice if you're bringing in things from the mental game to help you with that. So again, mental game, very important, be able to take what you're practicing and actually play your best when you're on the course. Let's see. So we went over just a real quick review here. We went over, we were talking about how to maximize your 2026. We talked about results, focused goal setting, finding what you truly want. We talked about creating a plan, and we talked about tracking. We want to make sure that we're tracking our practice, and we want to make sure that we're doing perfect practice. The more specific, the more organized, the more results focused practice we're doing, the better it will be. And we want to make sure we don't forget our mental game. Let's mental focus. Let's work on some mental practice. Let's get some visualization in there, maybe even do some meditating. There's a lot of things you can do off of the golf course or off of the practice range for your mental game that will help you on the course. So those are things to think about, guys. Again, if you've got some questions, please put that on in the comments. And then there's, so that's that. We're talking about perfect practice. We're talking about mental practice. And then as far as, if you'd like, there's more ways that you can learn. For me, I'm John Lemmon. I'm a mental performance golf coach. The first thing you can do to help your game and to learn some more is to subscribe to this channel. I've got some great shorts that I've been coming out with. I've got some great content coming out. So subscribe to this channel. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram and X as well. So I'll have links to that down in the description too. So, and then the next thing is, if you want to go to johnlemmon.com and sign up. We've got some information on there. I've got some blogs with some information, and also sign up for my newsletter. The newsletter is the best way to keep your mental game in shape by listening to, reading and hearing all the fun tips that I send out of the newsletter. And also, you'll be the first to know if there's a special or anything else going on like this live. I sent an email out to my email list, to my newsletter list, to find out about this. So it'll be fine. It'll get you in the know. You'll be able to find out, be the first to know what's going on in there. And also something else to go along with this, I have the results training course. And my results training course is a result-based goal setting course. And that is very, very important. And it goes along with this live training. It's a very in-depth, step-by-step program course to help you get the most out of your 2026. It will help you go through all of the steps that we highlighted today and go in depth. And you have, for just the $49 for that, you have a lifetime access to that course. I've even added some extra things in there. You have lifetime access to the course. You can go through that at any time. It's something you could do this year. Let's say in 6 months, you have some new goals and you want to refresh things, you can go back over it again. Or let's say you want to go through one of the sections. Like let's say you didn't come up with the best plan. You're like, I want to change my plan. You can go back to that section and work on that as well. I've also got some tools and some things in there for you to help, just like I talked about. The tracking spreadsheet that I use, there's access for you to download that for free within the course. And whatever, it's just so much help for you to maximize and to get the results or get the results that you'd like with your golf game in 2026. And if you want to go a step further, you can also, if you want to guarantee that you have the best results in 2026, you can also sign up for private lessons. I have virtual lessons where I do those over Zoom. I do those all over the world. All of that stuff is at johnlemmon.com. And also, I have in-person lessons that I do in the Dayton and Cincinnati area. But if you're outside that area and you want to get with me for some virtual lessons, I'm really focusing a lot on that this year just because of the time that I have, a limited amount of time, and I want to make sure that I get the most students. But yeah, virtual lessons is a great way to do that. Again, everything's at, and let me put this down in the links here in the chat. johnlemmon.com, and you can go to johnlemmon.com, sign up for the newsletter, check out the results training course, and also sign up for private lessons if that is the level you want to go at. If not, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we're going to do a quick Q&A. I have a couple questions. Let's see. This is a great question. What is a real goal for a 15 to 20 handicap golfer? And real is an interesting word there. Real is probably, I'm guessing, that real means realistic. Like, what's a realistic goal for somebody who's a 15-20 handicap? And at the beginning of this, and I mentioned it a couple times, I really want you to take the word realistic, rip it up, throw it out, and just forget about it. Because realistic, being realistic, like, what can I really do this year? There's just no inspiration there. That's really not that much fun. Instead, think, what is an outrageously messy, amazing goal for somebody that's a 15-20 handicapper? Honestly, I've seen people go from a 20 handicap down to a 10 handicap in 1 year. I've seen people go down to a 5. I mean, anything is possible if you're willing to get a plan together, figure out what you really want, put a plan together, and practice. And again, this is also something that doesn't necessarily have to take hours and hours and hours a year to do that. But I would suggest for you, for a 15-20 handicap golfer, I would just be like, what's the most outrageous thing I think I could possibly do? And what if I wrote that down? And what if I put that down as a result or a goal that I want this year? What if it came true? And then just kind of go after that and see how close you can get. Because let's say you're a 20 handicap and you're like, oh, I want to go down to a 5. And let's say you only went down to 10. That's okay. But would you have gotten down to a 10 if you hadn't had a goal that was far enough to get down to a 5? No, because you wouldn't have had the same inspiration. You wouldn't have been able to think in the best way. You wouldn't have been able to change who you are as a person and change your mindset to become the person that is a 5 handicap. So dream big. A real goal for a 15-20 handicapper. Hey, the sky's the limit. Dream big. You can do anything. So, all right, let's see if we have any other questions. This is a great question. What if I don't have a lot of time for practicing? This is a great question, and we kind of talked about it a little bit here. I would suggest just starting out. Let's say you're the kind of person that's able to play once a week, and then you've got a little bit of time at home. You've got kids, you have family, you have wife, you have husband, you have lots of things going on, or take care of your parents, or whatever it is. You've got work, obviously, as well. I would just start finding 15 to 20 minutes here or there on a weekly basis and see what we can do. I mean, if you were just going to do one thing this year, if you just were going to meditate, if you're just going to sit there and meditate for 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, I think that would improve the quality of your life. It would also improve your golf game. And I think that would be something that would be very easy to do. So that's, if you don't have a lot of time, 5 or 10 minutes here or there, meditating in the morning or the evening would be really, really important and very helpful. And then I'm telling you, like, you don't have to go to a driving range and you don't have to be at a practice green. You can be at home. You can set yourself up for success. Say you've got a garage or you've just got a putting mat. I've got a link in my description for some different tools and things that I use. You can have just your practice putting mat with a mirror, and you can do mirror work for 10 minutes once a day, like 3 or 4 times a week, and your putting will improve dramatically. And it's not the amount of time that you're spending on it. Even in a small amount of time, you can have some really good results with that. But yeah, that, and then also, if you really want to maximize what you're doing this year and have the best 2026 and get these amazing results, getting a lesson, having somebody help you with your mental game or your physical game, and having some drills and some things to work on for you, specifically for your game, instead of just watching a ton of different YouTube videos and be like, oh, here's a swing tip, let me try this. There's a swing tip, let me try this. I will say one thing that's a really good tip is, and I learned this from a couple different coaches, and I've learned this from watching some pros. Scotty Scheffler is a good example. Scotty Scheffler works on the same drills every day. And not so much every day, but he works on the same drills he's been working on for years and years and years and years and years. He works on his grip. He's got a little grip trainer thing that he uses. He uses that, and he works on that all the time. So it's not that I feel like a lot of times we're chasing after trying to find, oh, what's the next swing tip? What's the next YouTube video? What's the next thing I could do to get this to work on my game and have the best results I can, when really getting a quality lesson from a quality instructor like myself and finding the best drills for yourself to do and then continuing to do them. Like the drills that I'm doing right now myself are drills that I've been doing for over a year. And I'm seeing great results, but it's the same drill that I use. I'm doing a turn drill to work on my turn. I'm doing some freezers to work on that. And I've just been it's the same thing I've been working on for over a year. And in order to compound and for you to get better quicker, it's really important that you work on the same thing and not just go out there on YouTube and trying to find the next swing tip that's going to help your game, and get some actual specific guidance from a coach or instructor that's really specific for your swing and what you're working on. So, all right, any more questions, guys? We're going to end this live stream. I'm going to do a quick Q&A over on Twitter and after this, and I'm sorry, on TikTok. And my, if you want to go, I'm going to put my handle on TikTok on here. TikTok is at the John Lemon. At the John Lemon on TikTok. So you can check check me out there. I'm going to do a live Q&A for everybody over there, and kind of continue on with this focus of how to maximize your 2026 golf game, how to get the results, focus, goal setting, how to find what you truly want, how to figure out the perfect practice, how to work on your mental game, and go from there and just have the best 2026 you can. So, all right, cheers, guys. Thanks so much for joining. I really appreciate that. And anybody that is catching this on the replay, awesome. I'm so glad you're here. Reach out, check out johnlemon.com. You can email me there. There's a form, and or follow me on TikTok and Instagram and all the other places. And reach out and let me know how I can help you with your game. And have a wonderful day. Cheers, guys.